Welcome back to the Combo Couch, ladies and gentlemen. I am Pasta Jardula.
And I'm Fiorella.
And Johnny's on the ones and two, Mr. Sue. What do you got, fam?
What do you mean, what do I got?
I was rhyming there. I'm so sorry. I was just, I'm jazzed. I'm hyped. I'm happy from what I saw last night. The reason why we're going live right now, we want to say hi to all you Twitchers out there. Is that what they're called? The kids are calling them? The Twitchers?
Just Twitch, fam.
Just
Twitch.
For all of you out there on, come on, baby. Let's do the Twitch. Thank you for joining on in for the Twitter land at Periscope and Facebook, of course, live. And we'll be posting this up on our YouTube anyways. We want to thank you to all the new subscribers and the new Patreons. We love you guys. Thank you so much for your support.
Yeah, we will be getting more stuff up there. We've just been cut for time because of the debates. And
a lot of busy
now
stuff.
There's like a lot of things to cover. But let's talk about last night's epic throwdown. Because
you're smiling.
I am, because Tulsi did what she had to do.
Yes.
And she did the right thing, and she went after Kamala Harris like we talked about before on the show that she would. And it was the best thing she could have done, not only for herself, but also for progressives. Basically, translation, Bernie Sanders benefits from this. And he benefits because he can't criticize Kamala. He can't go after her record, and none of the Democratic establishment was going to touch her. And Tulsi did, and Kamala Harris did not expect it.
Yeah.
She did not expect it.
Yeah.
Her team did not prepare for it. It was very clear that they were not prepared for it.
Yeah.
You could see it in her face. She couldn't hide. And I thought it was an epic throwdown.
Can I say something, fam? Because you just said something. It really helps Bernie Sanders. To the Bernie supporters out there who keep saying this, I hear these predictions or these thoughts about the problem with a Sanders Warren ticket is no good, but maybe a Sanders Kamala Harris ticket. You got to be kidding me. You got to be crazy. You got to get that thought out of your mind, and you have to be thankful what Tulsi's doing. She is helping out Bernie Sanders by taking these people down. Like you said, if he goes after her in the way that Tulsi can, he'll be frowned upon, especially within his own base.
Yeah.
But Kamala got her legs chopped off last night by Tulsi Gabbard. We all saw this coming in a way with the way she went after her 3 or 4 times with the tweets. And yes, she was talked about looking insensitive, but it was setting up for this move. And this is what it's about. It's about politics. And it's going to get dirty. And last night, Tulsi hit Kamala clean like that white suit she came out of, fam.
Yeah, I mean, that was an epic wardrobe choice. And I'm not one to talk about wardrobe. To me, that's like the least thing that matters. But I think that was a really, really smart thing to do. So let's talk a little bit about last night. It was clear from the beginning that CNN, the Clinton News Network, had a preference for the theatrics between Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. I mean, it just kept going from Joe to Kamala, Kamala to Joe, a little bit of Booker in there. But really, like, obviously, we have a lot more candidates than that. But for the little time that Tulsi and Yang got to speak, and I mentioned Yang because he actually did pretty well, in my opinion, as well.
He did improve.
They were able to literally kind of call out the superficiality of the theatrics that was happening. They were able to focus on policy, and that's something that is very, very rare. And it was nice to see Kamala Harris on the defensive because she's been like, oh, I did this in California as Attorney General. I am so proud of my record. And then Tulsi went in and hit. So let's start with the Tulsi video where she just recently posted of last night's happenings. All right.
I love our country. It's why I enlisted after 9/11. Why I've served as a soldier for over 16 years, deployed twice to the Middle East, and serve in Congress now for almost 7 years. I know what patriotism is, and I've known many great patriots throughout my life. And let me tell you this, Donald Trump is not behaving like a patriot. As president, I will bring this spirit of real patriotism to the White House, serving the interests of all Americans, not just the rich and powerful.
I want to bring in Congresswoman Gabbard. Congresswoman Gabbard, you took issue with Senator Harris confronting Vice President Biden at the last debate. You called it a, quote, false accusation that Joe Biden is a racist. What's your response?
I want to bring the conversation back to the broken criminal justice system that is disproportionately negatively impacting Black and brown people all across this country today. Now, Senator Harris says she's proud of her record as a prosecutor and that she'll be a prosecutor president, but I'm deeply concerned about this record. There are too many examples to cite, but she put over 1,500 people in jail for marijuana violations and then laughed about it when she was asked if she ever smoked marijuana. She blocked evidence. She blocked evidence that would have freed an innocent man from death row until the courts forced her to do so. She kept people in prison beyond their sentences to use them as cheap labor for the state of California. And she fought to keep cash bail system in place that impacts poor people in the worst kind.
So she literally,
I want to bring it back over here.
She was like, yeah. So here's the thing about the whole Biden situation, right? They baited her with the Biden thing, trying to make her look bad. Like, oh, you didn't defend Kamala against this racist Joe Biden. Joe Biden is probably one of the most hated men right now. Like, nobody likes him. He's everyone's punching bag, like we were talking about. But why would she go and jump into punching on Joe Biden when there's Cory Booker, Kamala Harris, Kirsten Gillibrand, Castro? I mean, all of them were pretty much taking jabs at Joe Biden. So why the hell would she even do that? Even if she did feel that way, even if she thought his comments were wrong, or even if she didn't, it's not logical for her to go and attack him. And I love that she brought it back to policy, because the one thing that we all love about Bernie Sanders is he always focuses on policy.
Yeah.
And I suspect that if Bernie Sanders were asked that same question about, Joe Biden, he would probably, even though he's already stated his opinion that he should apologize to Cory Booker, he wouldn't bite and he wouldn't go into, let's jab at Joe Biden. He'd be like, okay, let's talk about the issues here. Yeah. That's what Bernie would do. And she is reminiscent of that.
Yep. And I used to hate when people used to say that, Trump is playing chess while the DNC's playing checkers. But I really mean it about Tulsi. She's just so ahead of the game when it comes to this stuff. She's been making moves and planting this seed for a while, and she really was able to deliver last night on it. And she wouldn't take the bait to go after Joe Biden because they also want to do that. I think it was 5 or 6 other candidates went after Joe Biden, which just shows you how the Democrats are. They're like, I hate when these people say, well, the Democrats don't need to attack each other. Well, it's the establishment Democrats that are fighting viciously over who to get the contributions from, who the donors to switch to, when Mr. Magoo or Joe Biden or Mueller, who are all like in the same brave brain capacity right now. And I'm not trying to make fun of them, but I feel bad for Joe Biden at this point. When they go away, where are those voters going to go? Remember when you said I was crazy and we said that person was crazy to think that Joe Biden voters would go to Tulsi? I'm starting to think that she knew that she had a chance to get them, and she didn't fall for the bait when they tried to pit her against Joe Biden. She said, we were all lied to. And we were all lied to. I think she's making a great move, fam. I think she's playing chess.
I mean, I think a lot of people, too, are making assumptions like she's trying to be his VP, and I don't think that's the case. She's just focused on the issues, on the policy, and it doesn't benefit her with the general America. That's why she gets libertarian votes. That's why she gets some of the people that are discontent with Trump. Not because she is a right-winger, but because she's not paying attention to the little game that Democrats play. And Bernie Sanders had a lot of those people back in 2016, and a lot of them got disgruntled that he went and endorsed Hillary Clinton. Mm-hmm. So they left the party. And I'm not saying I agree with their choice, but hey, that's why they left the party. The identity politics, the theatrics that the Democratic Party has been playing. And that is where she is kind of siphoning votes from. She's not siphoning votes from Bernie Sanders, but she's siphoning votes from people that are disgruntled with the entire Democratic Party. Yeah. And that was a very smart move of her to make and, go after Kamala. Let's continue watching some of what else
she's playing the win too, though, fam. That's the thing that's great. I just want to make a point is that, I thought coming into this season, I'm like, okay, Bernie Sanders is going to probably announce, and we know the message. We know the drum. We've seen how many Bernie Sanders speeches. We know what we got to do, and it's going to be a lot of work. But Tulsi has made it entertaining. She really has, with these debates, waiting for the political junkies, waiting last night. We were waiting for it. We were like, let's see it happen. Go to the video. I'm so sorry.
Kind of way.
Thank you, Congresswoman. Senator Harris, your response.
As the elected Attorney General of California, I did the work of significantly reforming the criminal justice system of a state of 40 million people, which became a national model for the work that needs to be done. And I am proud of that work. And I am proud of making a decision to not just give fancy speeches or be in a legislative body and give speeches on the floor, but actually doing the work of being in the position to use the power that I had to reform a system that is badly in need of reform. That is why we created initiatives that were about reentering former offenders and getting them counseling. It is why, and because I know that criminal justice system is so broken,
can we stop that one second before we go to Tulsi? I mean, fam, the thing that really just drove me crazy right there is I'm like, you're saying I just don't want to give fancy speeches over here, and she was going, I guess, to Joe Biden maybe, and then she motions over to Tulsi, or be on the floor as a legislator, talking on the floor like that's something bad. She's part about legislate. She's a legislator. I mean, she just really had nothing to come back with, nothing to defend herself. This woman is so not fit to be president. She doesn't have the temperament. She doesn't have the knowledge, and she's so full of BS that she couldn't even defend her record right there.
Yeah, I mean, she can't defend her record. That's the thing. Her record is very public. It is out there. I have posted about it I don't know how many times, and it's not something she can get away from. The only thing she can do is change the subject and prop herself up, or blame Russia, which is what we're going to see afterwards.
Can I ask you one question? Because I know a lot of people, and I want to hear your take on it, because you probably can say it a lot better than me. Mm-hmm. Should people out there, progressives in general, or people on the left, progressives mainly, entertain the idea of a Bernie Sanders, Kamala Harris ticket? Yes or no? And if no or yes, why?
I think that's a ludicrous idea. I think anybody spouting that does not understand politics at all. If you're going to be looking only on identity politics, on the fact that Kamala is a quote unquote black woman, first of all, Tulsi Gabbard is a woman of color. Tulsi Gabbard is also a woman, and I don't see enough people saying that that's a viable option. I also think we're getting ahead of ourselves, because I think the VP thing doesn't matter right now. We need to focus on getting a progressive in there, first of all. But I think it's also ignoring the fact that middle America, rural America, the southern states will want nothing to do with Kamala Harris. They look at her like as a typical establishment politician. I just got back from Florida. That is what I was getting from them. Elizabeth Warren, for them, is Hillary Clinton 2.0. And if you're going to go into these small cities, these small towns, and try to give them the whole, this is a politician, this is that, people in California have no idea how that looks to people in these small towns. I think it's a ludicrous idea, and that's exactly that kind of thinking that led us to lose to Donald Trump in 2016. And I'm telling you right now, if we lead with only that kind of identity politics, we are going to lose, and lose bad. Bad, 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 bad. That is the worst mistake we could possibly make.
What she said, wrote a video.
Senator, to not only decriminalize but legalize marijuana in the United States.
I want to bring Congresswoman Gabbard back in. Your response, ma'am?
The bottom line is, Senator Harris, when you are in a position to make a difference and an impact in these people's lives, you did not. And worse yet, in the case of those who are on death row, innocent people, you actually blocked evidence from being revealed that would have freed them until you were forced to do so. There is no excuse for that. And the people who suffered under your reign as prosecutor, you owe them an apology.
Senator.
So here's where I want to butt in.
Johnny Sue, tell us, baby.
Here's where I want to butt in. Damn. Okay.
Can they hear you? Is your mic on?
My camera just
3
looks
buttons.
terrible. I'm sorry. I haven't
Echo.
shaved. Haven't done anything. I just want to butt in and show my little meme video that I did of this segment of the debate.
Your response.
The bottom line is, Senator Harris, when you are in a position to make a difference and an impact in these people's lives, you did not. And worse yet, in the case of those who are on death row, innocent people, you actually blocked evidence from being revealed that would have freed them until you were forced to do so. There is no excuse for that. And the people who suffered under your reign as prosecutor, you owe them an apology.
Senator Harris.
That's hilarious. That Rick and Morty song always gets me.
Does he speak for everybody here? Kill the oligarchs. Shoot them down.
Her face says everything. Kamala Harris usually tries to maintain some sort of composure. Her face, she kind of looks like a sociopath. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, she is blatantly lying. She has been lying since the last debates, by the way. I have like a list of things she went back on since the first debates, including Medicare for All, which Tulsi did call her out. I don't know if we have that clip, but she did call her out on her Medicare for All plan as not even being anywhere close to a Medicare for All plan. And let me just say this, all Medicare for All plans have private insurance in them. Some of the campaigns are saying the wrong thing and saying like, no, it eliminates private insurance completely. Yeah. None of them eliminate private insurance completely, because there are other things that people might need private insurance for, cosmetic procedures, certain things that aren't covered. Yeah. So the majority of them, actually all of them have private insurance. So a lot of people like to pretend that like Bernie's plan is the one that doesn't have it, and that's just not the case. I've looked it over. But Kamala Harris's plan is not Medicare for all at all. And I think we're going to do a separate show on that to explain the differences. But her 10-year plan, basically 10 years is way too long, because by that time, it's not going to work, and it's going to make a Medicare for all plan look like it doesn't work. And we're going to have to go back to that. So it's a terrible plan, and she called her out on it.
I think the main thing is that was Kamala Harris versus one of the candidates, and that's the first one down. And fam, you kind of, one of our first videos coming out when the field was set, as we like to say in sports, this field is in motion. You went after Kamala right away because you knew it. You're like, okay, let's go. Boom, Kamala. You also did another video people should go back and look at, and it was Pete Buttigieg, because I still believe he hasn't gotten a lot of traction yet, but I still believe he's next in the wing. And the third one you also identified is Elizabeth putting the war back in Warren. I think she's the third stage down the line. So hopefully the dominoes will fall. And hopefully, for the next debate, eventually Kamala Harris might, Kamala Harris won't be in it, but it might be Tulsi Gabbard and Pete Buttigieg, and maybe she'll do some studying up on Pete Buttigieg.
You think Pete Buttigieg is more of a threat than Elizabeth Warren?
No, I think, once again, I think Kamala was the immediate threat, that they're going to be hyped on Kamala because she's going to lie, and she's a woman of color, so all the bleeding heart liberals were going to buy into her, and they did immediately after the first one when she did that feckless attack on Joe. It was something that happened years ago, but beside the point, I don't want to get into it. We knew it was a political move.
Absolutely.
And that early money was going to go to Kamala Harris. But we also paid attention last time in the election, the way the money kind of got shuffled around with the Republican Party. They were trying to shuffle money to beat Donald Trump because he was the populist candidate of sorts in their mind. They're doing the same thing to Bernie. So the money's going to go to Kamala in first. She got it exposed. She's going to go down. Some money, I think, is going to be shifted a little bit to Buttigieg, because the money that goes away from Biden, some will go to Kamala. She'll get knocked down. Eventually, will go to Buttigieg, and then it will go to Warren. I think Warren is the last straw they have. That's why the mainstream media is trying to compare Warren to Bernie, like the progressives.
Right, and I want to tomorrow we're going to talk about Bernie and that angle with Warren, because a lot of people are getting the wrong message here, in my opinion. But
you're fired up. It's in your voice, fam.
Yeah,
We're doing another video tomorrow about that one.
Yeah, we are.
We'll just wait. We got Warren.
We would be here for hours. So
versus the media now.
Let me reiterate. Tulsi Gabbard is the one that attacked Kamala Harris, because who else can attack Kamala Harris? Who else will? The establishment isn't going to attack her. Bernie can't attack her. So here comes a woman of color, progressive, veteran, calling her out on her BS. And I mean, the internet exploded. People were making memes. I mean, she was the #1 Google trend, period, out of all the candidates. And she pretty much hit her goal. She's close to hitting her goal. I believe the last number I saw was 120,000 donors. And she's got, thousands of new followers on Twitter. Yeah. This is a big deal.
It's watch time.
People love seeing, and this isn't just Democrats. We're going to see how Republicans are interested in her, not because she's spewing right-wing arguments, but because she's making these establishment Democrats look like the fools they are.
Yeah, there's a lot of libertarians that are going to vote for this woman. A lot of libertarians. Yeah. Bernie has outreach to get some libertarians, but not a lot. Tulsi can get a ton of them. And we have to talk about her relationship with the media now, fam, because, we did an interview, and the question I got, other than my speed round, I got to ask Tulsi if she likes pineapple on peaches. She said yes. I'm still looking for her to retract that statement. She hasn't, but we're at peace at each other right now. She also said Tupac over Biggie, and she goes on the Breakfast Club one day. She got to remember that. We got to talk a little bit about that. I gotta pledge my case for Biggie.
But we have another video, right, Johnny?
Yes, we do. But what I was saying is that my one serious question, because you guys got to ask her a lot of great questions, was about Assad. They're still sticking up on this, and Kamala Harris's only defense was, she's an Assad apologist. Yeah. You can't hide. That shit's not going to work.
Oh, yeah, that's what we're about to show.
Yeah, so that's why I'm saying now we have to also pay attention about Tulsi versus the media, because, fam, the media is pro-war, and they're still going to attack her.
Of course they are. They've been doing it.
Okay, so here's a video of the post-debate. Anderson Cooper interviews Kamala Harris here, and ask her about Tulsi Gabbard.
Some of the toughest critique or attacks at you came from Tulsi Gabbard. Just for our viewers who haven't seen it, I just want to play some of that and have you respond.
Okay.
All right,
I want to bring the conversation back to the broken criminal justice system that is disproportionately negatively impacting black and brown people all across this country today. Now, Senator Harris says she's proud of her record.
To not just give fancy speeches or be in a legislative body and give speeches on the floor, but actually doing the work of being in the position to use the power that I had to reform a system that is badly in need of reform.
Did you expect that from Tulsi Gabbard? Had you had interaction about that in the past, and how do you think it went?
Well, I mean, listen, this is going to sound immodest, but I'm obviously a top-tier candidate, and so I did expect that I would be on the stage and take hits tonight because there are a lot of people that are trying to make the stage for the next debate.
Yeah, for a lot of them, it's do or die.
Well, yeah, and especially when people are at 0 or 1% or whatever she might be at. And so I did expect that I might take hits tonight. But, you know, listen, I think that this coming from someone who has been an apologist for an individual, Assad, who has murdered the people of his country like cockroaches. She who has embraced and been an apologist for him in a way that she refuses to call him a war criminal. I can only take what she says in her opinion so seriously. And so I'm prepared to move on.
Okay, can we stop it right there?
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
First of all, Kamala Harris, immodest. This might sound immodest. First of all, yes, you have no bone of modesty in your body. Number two, the way she's just so dismissive of Tulsi and literally doesn't respond at all. Like, no, that's not true. My record is blah, blah, blah. She didn't even do that. And then she brings up the number one smear against Tulsi that has been debunked numerous times about her being an Assad apologist. People love saying that and regurgitating this, but nobody can provide proof that this is true. Not a single person that I have argued with online or argued with like in person can ever be like, okay, so here's the proof that she's an Assad apologist. Why? Because the media has been smearing this woman since day one.
Yeah.
Actually, they started alienating her after she endorsed Bernie Sanders in 2016, but it's gotten bad ever since she decided to run. Now, people claim that she's an Assad apologist because she literally met with Assad to try to figure out a way to not go to war.
Yeah,
and that's the mainstream media wants you to view that as bad. Wants you to view not going to war and avoiding more regime change and avoiding wars as bad. Yep. And that's the level of brainwashing we're talking about here.
And it's the mainstream media that is pro-war that we'll see when Anderson Cooper talks to Tulsi Gabbard coming up eventually, and the way they try to corner. And this whole Assad apologist stuff, it's such a small, it's a bumper sticker.
People can't even define what that is.
It's a bumper sticker message, and it really is just a smear. And the reason why she avoids is because she's got, she avoids answering the question. She's got no response for it. Yeah. She's got no defense for it and stuff. The question I did ask Tulsi Gabbard, and we can go back and look at this eventually one day, and I should repost this. I said, forget about Assad. Forget about the attacks about the apologists. What about the people of Syria? What do they want? Because I'm tired of their suffering. And she was able to answer that question, how she went in. She didn't just talk to Assad. She talked to the opposition. She talked to the people. She handled it like a president. And the fact that Kamala has to use that smear, you know why? Because she doesn't have the mindset to even handle something like this.
She doesn't
and
know
this is why
policy.
Tulsi said she has no idea about foreign policy, and she doesn't have the temperament. She is a fugazi. She is the worst person on stage. Kamala Harris, the worst person on stage. She needs to go. And you know what, Kamala? You've been exposed.
Do you want to play that little part?
I wanted to show them.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fine. About the one more thing about the Assad apologists.
Such bullshit, the Assad
First of all, Tulsi isn't even... I have more of a radical opinion on Assad than Tulsi does. And that she can even say, because she will get eviscerated if she doesn't even give them anything. We're going to see this next interview with Anderson Cooper and how they corner her about Assad.
Yeah.
But to me, and from people I know that know a lot about Syria, it's not black and white with Assad at all. And this is just my personal opinion based on evidence that I've seen on videos and on stuff. Tulsi isn't even there. But the fact that she's just met with these people is something that they're using against her. So let's play the Anderson Cooper video where he pretty much...
Well, tonight was especially important for a number of candidates on the stage during the debate. One of them, Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard, made it count. She became the top trending candidate on Google. Congresswoman Gabbard joins me now. Thanks so much for being with us. How did you feel it went for you tonight?
It was a good opportunity to have that platform to be able to address a lot of the major issues that we face. There's never quite enough time to get into these issues, but nonetheless, I think we were able to cover a lot.
I want to play an exchange you had with Kamala Harris,
sure.
Which obviously got a huge amount of attention. Let's watch.
It's the same exchange, the one that I memed
800
also.
people as cheap labor for this, as the elected attorney out of that work. And I am proud of, but actually doing the work of being in the position to use the power that I had to reform a system that is badly in need of reform.
How did you feel that went?
She never answered the question. She never addressed the issues that I brought up. And these are examples that have been widely reported and documented. I think the people deserve answers, given she said tonight a few times how proud she is of her record. Yet there are too many people in California who have directly suffered, families who've been torn apart, people who have individually been harmed because of the decisions that she made as Attorney General.
You clearly, your team had done your research and had facts down. Was your plan always to focus on her, or did you have other plans to focus on other people if the opportunities came up?
No, I didn't come into this with that kind of tactical strategy. Obviously, we're aware of the different positions that other candidates have taken, and given the opportunity, discussing this incredibly important issue of criminal justice reform, one where now there is bipartisan support to actually bring about the kind of change that we need to see. People like Kamala Harris need to be held accountable for their record, not for something that she said or did 50 years ago. This is something that she did in her last job before she was elected as a U.S. Senator.
In terms of health care, where are you on the spectrum?
Okay, can we stop it here for a sec? We'll get into health care in a minute. Okay, so she made a point, and it was a jab of her going after Biden, not because of Biden, but because she's literally going after what Biden did 50 years ago, and now capitalizing on it. She had the whole shirts. She had all of these all this merch available, right? Kamala Harris, like for the last debate, and people fell for it. I mean, a lot of people were like, "Oh my God, yeah, I'm glad she took Joe down." I mean, yeah, but really, that was. Where's the policy in that? What does that do for the American people, really? What does that do? Okay, fine. Take Joe Biden down. But do it through policy. There were so many other things she could have attacked him on, and then she manipulated this. And Tulsi hates that. And Tulsi hates that she capitalizes on the being a black woman when literally people forget that Tulsi's a woman of color. That nobody is ever like, oh yeah, they ignore the fact that she's a woman of color. They go after her with Hindu-phobic kind of terminology, and nobody really has a problem with it. But when Kamala Harris does it, it was kind of like an emotional thing for her. But she didn't answer the question. Kamala Harris didn't answer the question. Bottom line, she did not answer the question.
No, she never did. Roll the tape, because
this one is more of a controversial one.
A lot about that.
Yes, Medicare for all, or improve Obamacare.
Yeah.
Where are you?
Well, first, let me just say our objective has to and must be making sure that no person, no American who is sick in this country should go without care because they can't afford it. That's why I have been and continue to be a supporter for Medicare for all that would guarantee that health care, that quality health care for every single American in this country. I also believe, like every other developed country in the world that has universal health care, that there is a role for private insurance to play for those who want it.
Do you think for those who are embracing taking away private insurance from people, ultimately, is that just strategically, politically, a non-starter?
I don't know about the politics of it. I just think about it from the perspective of people, of the American people, that if all of a sudden you are taking away their choice, That's not a very American thing, in my opinion. I think our responsibility as
that's a libertarian thing to say.
Yeah, that's
such a libertarian.
Totally
thing to
a libertarian thing to say. And I get it. And I think a lot of people are misconstruing this as she doesn't support Medicare for all. She literally told you, I support Medicare for all. There are different plans on Medicare for all. Kamala Harris's plan is a 10-year plan. Again, Bernie Sanders' plan still includes private insurance, and a lot of people are trying to say it does. It does.
Most Medicare plans around the globe do have a form of.
All of them have a form of private insurance because we don't have a state that exists as a communist, completely socialist thing. That and I for me personally, of course, I'd be like, yeah, eliminate all of them, F them. Yeah. I don't need a choice.
Just Cuba?
We should just support.
I have to look into Cuba.
I don't know about Cuba.
I'm going to look into Cuba and see if that might be. I'm trying to think what would be the exception. I think I'm almost positive that China has a private insurance company of sorts too as well. But
the majority, the role that these would play would be cosmetic procedures, maybe some dental things that aren't covered by Medicare for all. That is not saying
you want to
that
get a Cardi B
Medicare
ass.
for all. Yeah, exactly. That Medicare for all wouldn't exist. But Kamala Harris's plan, you guys, that's not Medicare for all. And again, I'm going to go into that in another video.
And we also got to look where these people take money from. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
That's why when Cory Booker says anything about Medicare for all, anything in that field, it's like, shut up, Cory. We know we can never depend on you.
Let's go, because Pasta's got to go to work. Let's go to the Assad stuff.
Because that stuff gets crazy.
I think it's unfortunate and
an apologist for Bashar al-Assad, that you really she said about you. She said that you were essentially an apologist for Bashar al-Assad, that you would never criticize him as a dictator or murderer.
I think it's unfortunate and a disservice to voters in this country that she resorts to cheap smears rather than actually addressing her record, the issues that I've raised, and the fact that she said she is proud of this record. If that's the case, then voters deserve to hear about why she's so proud of the lives that she has negatively impacted, the families that she's torn apart in California.
If voters are wondering, what is your take on Bashar al-Assad, what do you say?
My take is one of a soldier, where I've seen the cost of war firsthand. In Iraq, serving in a medical unit every single day, confronted with that high human cost of war. So I will never apologize for doing all that I can to prevent more of my brothers and sisters from being sent into harm's way to fight counterproductive regime change wars that make our country less safe, that take more lives, and that cost taxpayers trillions more dollars. So if that means meeting with a dictator or meeting with an adversary, absolutely, I would do it. This is about the national security of our country.
I understand that position. Do you consider him a torturer or a murderer?
That's not what this is about. I don't defend or apologize or have anything to do with what he has done to his own people.
But if you're president of the United States, it's fine if you want to meet with somebody, but there's traditionally a role of a president of the United States calling out human rights abuses overseas. Bashar al-Assad is head of a regime which has disappeared many people as his father.
Here's the way that I look at it, and the kind of leadership, the example of leadership that I follow is one where Kennedy met with and worked with Khrushchev to forge a deal that would keep the American people safe. Where obviously Reagan met with Gorbachev, Roosevelt met with Stalin, worked with Stalin, Nixon met with Mao. These are the kinds of leaders who think about things at a very practical and real level about how to keep our country and the American people safe.
Stalin murdered 20 million people.
That's my point exactly.
Right.
Yet Roosevelt not only met with him, but he allied with him to bring about an end to that war.
But I'm sure Roosevelt would have acknowledged that Stalin murdered millions of people. You don't want to.
I don't dispute that. Again, my focus.
But you won't say anything about that about Bashar al-Assad.
I've been very outspoken about this before. These are things that are being used as detractions away from the central issue, which is we are still waging a regime change war in Syria today. We still have troops in Syria today, troops who are dying. That's my focus. That's why I'm running for president, to bring about this sea change in our foreign
understand
policy.
I hadn't planned to go down this road, but I understand the not wanting to get involved militarily, and certainly as a veteran, you have more of a right than anybody to talk about that and have an opinion about it. Just on a factual basis, Bashar al-Assad is a murderer and a torturer. Do you not agree with that?
I don't dispute that.
You don't dispute that. Okay.
I mean, the mainstream media is such a friggin' joke. Really, I can't wait to replace you guys. Really. I mean, I'm going to be a chubbier, smarter, sexier Anderson Cooper. That no, but seriously, like, what do you say? I didn't plan to go down this road. Yeah, he did, John.
Yeah,
Johnny said that, guys. Johnny Sousa, he did. It's like, this is ridiculous that what they're trying to corner these people into. They're trying to control their narrative on this something just small on a bumper sticker. So you for the record, factual, Fiorella, you don't think that Bashar al-Assad is
I don't. I don't. I'm honestly more angry that she said what she said, that she doesn't dispute that. I dispute that.
Yeah.
And I'm angry not because she said it, because she almost had to say it. Because if she didn't say that, they were going to continue calling her an Assad apologist. But when she does say that, some of the people who understand foreign policy and understand what's going on in Syria are going to be like, damn, that sucks that she said that. I'm telling you right now, because we do go deep into these things, and we know we have been looking into Syria, and I want to bring in some people who are experts on Syria, and I'm going to have them talk to you guys about what's actually going on there and how she's right. Now, meanwhile, we're all focused on Assad, whether he's a dictator or not. The symbolism of it, that the establishment, the neoliberals, love to focus on the emotions, the manipulations that they get to the American people. They tug on it. Meanwhile, the American people are suffering, and people in Syria are suffering because we're still engaging in regime change wars. And she's over here telling you that the house is burning down. And nope, look, let's just keep pushing. Is he a dictator or not? Do you support that or not? Like, no, it's BS.
You know that FDR met with Stalin to end the war and stuff. Yeah, but I'm pretty sure that if he was around today and would have saw what Stalin. No, don't project stuff. Don't imply
Anderson Cooper
stuff.
doesn't know the first thing about Syria. He doesn't know anything.
He might not even know what Bashar al-Assad's profession is. He might not even know. I know Kamala Harris wouldn't know. And you know who else besides us is a Bashar al-Assad apologist? Howard Gold, right? That's what Howard Gold is, because Howard Gold has something else to do. He goes, I'm an Assad apologist, and I was a Saddam apologist when I sided with him against our intelligence community about WMDs, which killed over 1 million Iraqis, which displaced another 3 million Iraqis, which set the Middle East on fire, which killed American troops, which keeps troops coming home, killing themselves 22 a day, started from that George Bush war. Of course we're apologists. Learn your history. Look into it. And all these Democrats, these establishment Democrats, they're neocons, fam. You put something in here. I don't even think we looked at it. The graph about what they are.
Let's look at the graph, Johnny, real quick.
That's what these people are. It's disgusting what they are nowadays.
Look where they all are. And I've taken this test. It's pretty accurate for me. I'm all the way to the left. I'm like literally past Howie Hawkins.
Yes. I'm a libertarian something.
I'm a libertarian socialist.
Me too.
That's what I am.
Me too.
But Bernie and Tulsi are right there. And look at all these people. Like Warren is right. She's center. And then everybody else is like, bam.
Yeah.
And people love to talk about, oh yeah, they're not that bad. In the general world scale, it's probably even worse than this. I would probably say the majority of them are still centrist.
These are just their This is their ideology, right? Okay, if you start throwing in corporate mindset, like corporate monies, not just what they believe and what they say they believe or whatever and stuff.
Record,
but if you start putting us on their record, they're going to go even further up there as far as this corporatist. If you add that to the scale. Because if you believe in corporations, you believe in authoritarian down the road. What YouTube and Facebook and Google, with all these things, they're determining what the Fair Use Act can do. They're determining all this stuff, and it's wrong. It's terrible.
And real quickly, I just want to show this view when they talk about Tulsi Gabbard after the debate.
I didn't see this, Johnny. Really off the reservation on the mainstream area.
As well as she did during the first debate, because she had that breakout moment in the first debate. But I think she does need to do better in terms of defending her record as a prosecutor, because we are a nation of laws, and that should be a positive as opposed to a negative. And I thought that Tulsi Gabbard wanted to come for her because she is more of a fringe candidate, because her numbers are very low.
The Republicans like Tulsi.
The Republicans like her, and I think she's a real Trojan horse here, because when you look at her record in particular, she's apologized for it, but she was very anti-LGBTQ community. She also has praised Trump for meeting with Kim Jong-un 3 times.
That's why they like her.
She was one of 47 House Democrats who joined her Republican colleagues voting for a measure that would halt
Look at how she's reading off the paper.
Refugees from resettling in the U.S. She's also refused to call Assad a war criminal, and actually
refused to do it last night.
She refused to do it last night. And then, per an NBC News report, Russian propaganda machines favors Gabbard. So when I look at all of that, I'm concerned that she is attacking Harris, and I'm concerned that she has any traction.
So I agree that
well, the Republicans will start throwing money at her.
I agree that when she came on the show, you and I asked her about it, and I believe you brought up Venezuela. I'm not expunging that, but I will say the idea that because she got a really good blow into Kamala and smoked her on an issue, talking about how she put people in jail for smoking weed and then bragged about how she smoked weed on the radio. It was a great line. She landed a big blow on what was the front runner last time. The idea that she's now a Trojan horse is just political posturing.
I don't know about that.
Stop that right there. I'm so sorry. Oh my God! When Meghan McCain is defending Tulsi Gabbard, you know, is Mercury in retrograde still? Something's going on here, baby. Did you see that? And she said she even called them out for their hypocrisy.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing where progressives align with some Republicans is when we call out the Democrats and their hypocrisy. And I hate to agree with Meghan McCain here because I really don't like her at all. But she is right. She is right.
And here she says one more thing. That's like.
Yeah,
go ahead. I'm sorry, but that was awesome.
But, after Jill Stein, I am paranoid.
Right.
And there's a ton of, there's a lot of writings on it today on Tulsi. And I like Tulsi. I disagree with her vehemently on foreign policy in particular. But I'm seeing people who used to dislike her tremendously, now all of a sudden like her.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of writings in things like Russia Today. There's a lot of Russian bot traffic around Tulsi. There's something going on. I suspect it's not knowingly by her because I think she's a decent human being who served this country. But
can I tell you why I liked parts of her? Because she's a combat veteran. She's talking about patriotism in a way that I have heard no other candidate other than Biden talk about. She's pro-gun. She's pro-military. She's speaking in a lot of ways that is resonating with Republicans.
Let her think
by the way, did I or do I not make sure that we put in that the gentleman that was poisoned by Putin got in the show because I didn't think it was getting enough publicity in the media. So the idea that I'm somehow watching RT, by the way, I can't even travel to Russia because my family's sanctioned from going there and I like her at the same time.
Nobody's saying you. I'm talking about other people. I mean, just because I'm making a reference doesn't mean it's a reference to you. It would lead to a more constructive behavior if you didn't
I am in the
take it
Venn
personally.
diagram of what you just said. I am that person. I am a Republican who thinks what she's saying is interesting.
That's why I say the Republicans like her, and they're going to start throwing money at her.
And you know what?
So just
God
keep your eye
forbid
on her
any
out there.
Republicans like any of the Democratic candidates on any way. Just bloodlet every independent and Republican who's curious about any Democratic candidates out. And at the same time, keep attacking
there
Obama
you go.
and his wife.
I will tell you.
Yeah. So the Democrats are so stupid. They're so stupid that they don't want Republicans to like one of their candidates, right? Because God forbid that they would win the general election. I
got to make an apology. I got Meghan McCain. I am so sorry. A couple weeks I was talking shit about you, girl. You have just you won me over,
well,
and
she deserved it back then.
She did, but I am so sorry because if I would have, thank you for speaking. And once again, she's the Republican on stage. Navarro is too, but fam, I think that she's coming around. I think Meghan McCain's going to be a Tulsi supporter and vote for her. There's also somebody else I saw left a pretty good post that said, thank you, Tulsi Gabbard, for going after Kamala Harris. Hey, Maria Estrada, you coming around over here, babe? You coming around, Maria Estrada?
Let me say something about this before we
Lauren
go.
Steiner said something good about Tulsi. Yeah. Come around, y'all. We got room on this boat.
Fam likes to digress, but
there's room. Sorry.
Fam, sorry. Let me say something about this because we have to go.
I'm gonna be late for work.
I know. That's why I'm trying to say. This is a very important segment, and I wish I had more time to discuss it. But basically, what they're doing here is they're tying Russia to Tulsi Gabbard, and that's what her team said, right? Jonathan, can you just go real quick on the link I sent you and show what Kamala Harris's team put out today? A debunked article on NBC just talking about how Tulsi is tied to Russia. Literally. And they're going to continue to do this because any person that is challenging the status quo and it's maybe unifying some Republicans with some Democrats is a threat to the actual establishment who don't want that. And you're going to see this happening. Russians didn't put people in jail for marijuana. That was Kamala Harris. Okay? Russians didn't rig the elections in 2016 for Hillary Clinton. That was the DNC. So let's stop here with the Russia BS. And even if you believe that Donald Trump colluded with Mueller in some way, that has nothing to do with Tulsi Gabbard. And to the people that are going to say, oh, well, she's dangerous because Republicans like her. The reason Republicans like her is because some of them, not all of them, some of them think logically. They like the fact that she's a veteran. She's not pro-military, but let Meghan McCain think that. She is pro-veteran. She's anti-regime change war. She's anti-military industrial complex. But hey, if they can like some of her stuff, just like some Republicans like Bernie, there was a group called Republicans for Bernie. That is what we need. We don't need people to be alienating the entirety of half of the country, which is what the majority of the Democratic establishment wants, because they're dumb and they want to lose the election, I guess. Because you're not going to win the election by trashing on half of the country all the time. That's just not how it works.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's all the time we have.
Unfortunately.
We're going to end it on that. We'd love to do it and stuff like I want to thank all those people who are on YouTube today. It's not YouTube, excuse me, Facebook today. Allison Irvin, Carlos Martinez, Danny Garcia,
What's up, Carlos?
Chris David. We love you all. Carl Hines, Michiko. I hope you're back on the Tulsi bandwagon. You need to, Michiko. She needs you and she loves you. Bill Robinson, Lori Lamb. And thank you to the people over on the Twitch who's twitching with us. It says Mobius Prime. Is this live? Yes, Mobius Prime. It is live. And not only is it live, it's lit, fam. It's lit.
And thank you to everyone on Twitter watching. And we will post this on YouTube. Again, they removed our what do you call our ability to live stream. We're fighting them. We are legally too. Yes. So we'll update you guys on that tomorrow. I'm going to talk about Bernie Sanders and his.
And you also have a good video coming out soon.
I do have a video on BDS.
Video and stuff. I'm going to be doing another video with the lawyer Michael Santucci. He's also a copyright lawyer and a patent lawyer. So we're going to talk about the Fair Use Act and kind of explain what that is. And we got some more Epstein goodies for Pasta Jardula.
And Fiorella Isabel.
Johnny Tsunami on the ones and twos.
Combo out.